Narcissists live for control. That's the invisible thread that weaves through every word they say, every action they take, and every manipulation they plan. It's not about love, it's not about connection, it's about dominance. The moment they feel you slipping out of their grip even slightly, they begin to unravel. They panic in silence, not because they fear losing you as a person, but because they fear losing their power over you. That's the moment when everything shifts. You see, when you start to find your voice, when you begin standing up for yourself without apology, when you begin saying no. Instead of folding under pressure, they see it. It's like a flashing red warning light in their mind. You're becoming immune to their tactics. You're no longer afraid of their silence or seduced by their charm. And that, to a narcissist, is terrifying. They built their sense of superiority by feeding off your insecurities. They mirrored your dreams just to attach themselves to your identity. But now you're waking up. You're asking questions. You're setting boundaries. You're no longer reacting with fear, but responding with clarity. And for someone who thrives on chaos and control, that calm strength you're developing becomes their greatest threat. This is the part most people don't talk about. When you grow stronger, the narcissist doesn't walk away gracefully. They double down. They try to reel you back in with false affection, fake apologies, or even acts of desperation. But underneath it all is a quiet rage, a storm brewing, because they can feel their influence fading, and they don't like it. Their power was never real. It was borrowed from your self-doubt, from your desire to be loved, from your fear of being alone. But now that you've started reclaiming yourself, they have nothing to stand on, and they know it. That's when they start planning their final act, their last dirty trick. But before that, there's a strange silence, a pause, as if they're watching closely to see if this strength you've found is temporary. They'll test you with small jabs just to see if you flinch. They'll throw subtle guilt, provoke your compassion, or play innocent, hoping you'll soften again. Because once you've seen them clearly, they know there's no going back. So they test your strength, hoping to find a crack in your armor. But let me be clear, your strength is not the problem, it's the solution. It's not your responsibility to shrink just to keep their ego intact. You weren't born to be a puppet in someone else's emotional theater. You were born to lead your own life, with purpose, with peace, and with power. A narcissist senses that power in you, and they know the game is over the moment you stop needing their validation. When you realize that your worth doesn't depend on their approval, you break free. Not physically at first, but emotionally, spiritually. You stop reacting, you start choosing, you take your energy back. That's the real revolution. So when you feel that inner strength rising, don't doubt it. Don't fear it, don't hide it. That's not you becoming cold, it's you becoming clear. And that clarity, that rising fire within, is exactly what a narcissist can't control. Because the truth is, they never loved the real you. They loved the version they could manipulate. But now that you've outgrown the illusion, they're left staring at someone they can't deceive anymore. And in that moment, when they realize you're too strong to break, they prepare their final dirty trick. Once a narcissist realizes they've lost control of you, they don't just walk away and accept it. No, they pivot. They shift into something far more deceptive, something that catches many people off guard. When you've built up your strength, when you've stopped begging for clarity or crying over their silence, they flip the entire script. They suddenly become the victim. This is their final, desperate transformation. The moment they sense you are too grounded to manipulate directly, they weaponize the only thing they think might still work: your empathy. It starts subtly. You'll notice them acting strangely quiet, not with the same smug silence used to punish you before, but with a softer, wounded tone. You might receive a message that sounds full of sorrow, like "I never meant to hurt you," or "I just can't believe this is how it ended." It sounds almost human, almost real. But it's not. It's strategy. They're not sorry for what they did, they're sorry they can't keep doing it. The victim mask is their most manipulative disguise because it preys on one of your greatest strengths, your compassion. And they know it. They remember how you used to show up for them, even when they didn't deserve it. They remember how you used to justify their behavior, how you tried to heal them, understand them, fix them. So now, when control is slipping, they use that history against you. They'll paint a picture where you are the aggressor and they are the wounded soul. They'll tell mutual friends that you changed, that you stopped caring, that you're cold or distant or cruel. They'll cry behind closed doors to people who never saw the manipulation you endured. And in doing this, they don't just try to win you back. They try to isolate you, confuse you, and make you question whether you were ever right to leave in the first place. You may start to feel guilty. That's exactly what they want. You'll find yourself wondering, what if they really are hurting? What if I misjudged them? What if they have changed? But remember this, guilt is not the same as responsibility. You are not responsible for fixing someone who repeatedly broke you. You're not cold for protecting your peace, and you're not cruel for recognizing manipulation dressed in vulnerability. The narcissist's victim act is designed to pull you back into the cycle, because once you engage again, once you defend yourself or try to explain your side, they know they still have a hold. You're still reacting, you're still affected, but silence, once again, becomes your greatest power. When they can't get an emotional reaction from you, not love, not hate, not sympathy, they start to panic. Because their game depends entirely on pulling emotional strings. But what they fail to understand is that you've grown. You're no longer led by their stories. You've stopped responding to their narrative and started writing your own. One where you're no longer the caregiver of chaos, but the protector of your own peace. Their sob story may pull at heartstrings from a distance, but you now see it for what it truly is, a performance. So when they cry, when they plead, when they paint themselves as the broken one, remember, this is not new. It's just the last dirty trick of someone who can't stand that you finally chose yourself. Narcissists are not just manipulators. They're master psychologists. They observe you closely, learning your patterns, your weaknesses, your emotional buttons. But above all, they learn your empathy, not because they admire it, but because they know it's the very thing they can use against you. The moment they sense that you care deeply, that you want to help, fix or heal, they start weaving a trap made of guilt and obligation. They don't break you by brute force. They break you by twisting your kindness into a weapon. This is what makes the final phase so dangerous. When they feel you slipping away stronger, wiser, detached, they don't lash out in fury, not at first. They shrink into the role of the wounded soul. They'll say things like, "I'm lost without you," or "You're the only person who ever understood me." They might act helpless, confused, or deeply depressed, not because they feel those things, but because they know you do. They know you can't ignore someone who's in pain, and if they can't control you through fear or charm anymore, they'll try to control you through compassion. It's subtle, almost invisible. You'll find yourself feeling bad for them, even when you know better. You'll remember their childhood traumas, their stories of being misunderstood, and suddenly your strength begins to shake, not because you're weak, but because you're human. That's the emotional hook, and they know exactly how to tug it. They might hint at being on the verge of a breakdown. They might suddenly open up in ways they never did before. They'll confess things designed to stir sympathy, not truth. "I pushed you away because I was afraid you'd leave," or "I don't know how to love right, but I'm trying." And in that moment, your instinct to walk away collides with your instinct to care. That's where they want you, torn between your head and your heart. But here's the reality they don't want you to see. They are not helpless. They are strategic. Every moment of vulnerability is calculated. Every tear, every late-night message, every confession is timed to reel you back in just when you thought you'd finally broken free. They want you back, but not to love you, to control you again. And they'll say whatever it takes to reset the cycle. It's not that they don't understand what they're doing. They understand perfectly. They know how hard you fought to get where you are. And the thought that you're free of their influence terrifies them, so they lean on the one thing that might still work, the part of you that wants to believe people can change, the part that holds on to hope even in the face of proof. But change without accountability is just manipulation wearing a softer mask. You've already given them enough time, enough energy, enough chances. And if you bend now out of empathy, they'll know they can always pull you back with just the right sob story. The hardest part about breaking free from a narcissist isn't the silence or the loneliness or even the healing. It's resisting the urge to rescue someone who's been drowning you all along. It's learning that you can care without returning, that you can forgive without reopening the door. They will try to weaponize your heart, but your heart is not your weakness. It's your strength, and the day you stop letting it be used against you is the day you finally take it back. There's a moment in every survivor's journey when they finally decide to stop explaining themselves. A moment when the arguing, the defending, the justifying, it all feels pointless, because it is. And that's when something incredible happens: silence. Not the silence they once used to punish you, but a silence that you now own. A silence that no longer feels like fear or tension. It feels like peace. And nothing, absolutely nothing, drives a narcissist more insane than that. You see, narcissists don't thrive in stillness. They thrive in reaction. Your words, your frustration, your confusion, it's all fuel. The more you respond, the more control they still have. Because deep down, they don't care what you're saying, only that you're saying something. It tells them they still live in your head, that you're still spinning emotionally, still trying to make them see your pain, still trying to make sense of their chaos. That's the game, and for so long, you've been unknowingly playing it, hoping it might one day lead to understanding or closure. But then you realize the truth. There is no closure with a narcissist, because closure requires two things they will never give: honesty and accountability. Once you understand that, your silence becomes your answer. It's not a punishment. It's not the silent treatment. It's you reclaiming your energy, your dignity, your space, and to a narcissist that's unbearable. When they can no longer provoke you, they panic. They'll start testing you with subtle jabs, maybe a backhanded compliment, a cryptic message, a sudden appearance online or in person. Anything to get under your skin, to make you react. Because if you react, they know you still care, even if it's in anger. But when you don't, when you remain grounded and unmoved, it shatters their illusion of control. They'll accuse you of being cold, of being heartless. Ironically, they'll say you're the one acting like the narcissist now. It's projection, plain and simple. A last-ditch effort to spin the narrative so they can feel like the victim. But don't take the bait. Your silence is not cruelty. It's clarity. And that clarity is the very thing they never wanted you to have. Silence is powerful because it ends the loop. It stops the back and forth that fuels their ego. It strips them of the attention they crave and forces them to sit with themselves, something they've spent their whole life avoiding. That's why they'll escalate. They might try love, bombing again, sending apologies, gifts, or promises of change. Or they might go dark and hope you'll panic and chase. But you've seen too much, you've been through too much. And now you understand what they don't. That peace doesn't need to be proven, it just is. Your silence also speaks volumes to those watching. Because believe me, others notice. They may have heard the narcissist's twisted version of events, but your lack of drama, your calm detachment, your refusal to engage, it tells the real story. You don't have to argue your truth. Living it is enough. So when you choose silence, don't doubt yourself. Don't feel guilty. It's not weakness, it's strength wrapped in restraint. It's you stepping out of the arena and deciding that your energy is too sacred to waste on someone who only ever wanted to see you unravel. Because the moment you stop playing the game is the moment they lose it all. When a narcissist realizes they can no longer control you directly, they don't surrender, they scheme. Because they can't manipulate you anymore, they shift their focus to the people around you. That's when the smear campaign begins. It's their last resort to keep their illusion alive, and it's designed not just to hurt your reputation, but to isolate you emotionally. If they can't control your mind, they'll try to control how the world sees you, and that can be just as damaging if you're not prepared. They know you've stepped away. They feel your energy cutting loose, your heart no longer tethered to their approval. That terrifies them, so they do what narcissists do best. They rewrite the story. In their version, you were unstable. You were dramatic. You were the one who changed. And because narcissists are often charismatic and persuasive, people believe them. Especially those who only knew the surface of your relationship, those who never saw the manipulation behind closed doors. At first, you might feel an overwhelming need to defend yourself, to clear your name, to call people, explain everything, and prove you're not the villain in their narrative. But here's the truth. Doing so only pulls you back into their game. That's what they want. They want you explaining, reacting, pleading, because it keeps you tangled in their web. It proves they still have influence over your emotions. The smear campaign isn't just about reputation. It's about control through perception. If they can't make you feel weak anymore, they'll try to make others see you as weak or unstable, so you lose support. So you feel alone, so you begin to question your own reality. That's the subtle cruelty of it. It's not just an attack, it's psychological warfare. You'll hear things they've said about you through the grapevine. You'll see the shift in how certain people treat you. You may even lose friendships or connections that mattered to you. And in those moments, you'll feel the sting. But don't let it undo your healing. Those who believe the narcissist without hearing your side were never truly for you. Real people, grounded people, ask questions. They don't jump to conclusions. They don't let whispers define someone's worth. And those who matter, those with discernment, they see through the narcissist eventually. Maybe not today, maybe not even next month, but the truth always rises. Narcissists can't hold up their masks forever. Their patterns reveal themselves. Their contradictions pile up. And in time, people begin to notice. So your job isn't to fix the narrative. Your job is to live your truth. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. Because nothing is more threatening to a narcissist than your peace, your strength, and your refusal to engage with the lies. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. And you certainly don't owe the narcissist a single ounce of your energy. The smear campaign only works if you let it pull you back into the storm. But if you stay centered, stay grounded in who you are and what you've lived through, their lies lose their power. And slowly, everything they tried to twist begins to unravel. The truth has a way of making its way to the surface, especially when you no longer chase it. Because when they can't control your life anymore, they try to control your story. But even that falls apart when you rise above the noise and keep walking. There comes a moment, after all the games, the gaslighting, the guilt trips, and the silent treatments, when the narcissist realizes none of it works anymore. And in that moment, they face a truth they were never prepared to handle. You've outgrown them, not just emotionally, but energetically. You've moved into a space they can't reach, a place of clarity, of self-respect, of calm. And no matter how hard they try to provoke a reaction, all they're met with is indifference. Not coldness, not bitterness, just the quiet strength of someone who finally knows their worth. You stop trying to explain yourself. You stop revisiting the past, hoping they'll one day see what they did. You stop believing they'll change. That's the day everything shifts, because now they can't reach you the way they used to. You don't answer the messages. You don't respond to the bait. You don't flinch at their games, and in their mind, that's the ultimate defeat. What they never anticipated was that their manipulations would become the very thing that made you stronger. Every lie they told, every silent punishment, every twisted version of the truth, it all led you back to yourself. It forced you to dig deeper, to question the narrative, to build boundaries you never even knew you needed. You became someone they no longer recognized, not because you changed in a bad way, but because you finally became someone they couldn't control. And that's when their last dirty trick fails. All the tactics they once relied on fall flat. The crocodile tears, the vague apologies, the nostalgic remember when messages, none of it moves you. It's not that you've turned off your emotions, it's that you've finally taken them back. You're no longer giving your power away to someone who only knew how to feed off it. They'll try to tell others that you're heartless now, that you're the one who abandoned them, that you suddenly became distant or selfish. But you'll notice something strange the more they talk, the more they expose themselves. The desperation seeps through the cracks in their mask. Their once carefully crafted image starts to crumble, because the only way their stories ever held power was when you were too quiet to tell your own. But now you don't even need to tell it. Your peace speaks for you, your glow speaks for you, your silence becomes your loudest message. And no one can deny the strength that radiates from someone who walked through fire and came out on the other side with grace. You no longer seek closure from them. You gave it to yourself. You no longer hope for justice or revenge. You just want peace, and that's what makes you untouchable. While they're still trying to stir chaos, you're building a life without their shadow. They wanted you to be stuck, confused, haunted by their absence, but instead you're calm, you're clear. You're gone, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. They don't get to follow you there. That version of you they used to manipulate no longer exists, and the person you've become is far too whole to ever be broken by the same hands again. Because in the end, the narcissist's final trick always fails when you stop playing their game and walk away for good.